Stay exactly where you are. Don't reach for the phone to call that person who walked away. Don't try to force a door open that the universe has clearly slammed shut. Don't you dare try to fix a reputation that God is intentionally letting crumble in the eyes of the world. I know you're sitting there in the silence, and I know that silence feels like a vacuum, like it's sucking the air right out of your lungs. You look around and see everyone else moving in packs, everyone else getting the invites, everyone else building their tribes, and you're sitting there in an empty room, wondering if you've been disqualified. But I'm coming to you today with a prophetic mandate. The silence isn't a graveyard, it's a womb. You aren't being punished with loneliness. You are being preserved in a divine stay-put order. There is a specific frequency that is being tuned in your spirit right now. And if you move too soon, you will pull yourself out of the alignment necessary to meet the people who are currently on a collision course with your destiny. The kingdom has dispatched you. They have been given your spiritual coordinates, but they are looking for the version of you that is settled, the version of you that is still, and the version of you that has finally stopped chasing shadows. They are making their way to you right now, and if you stay put, the meeting will be effortless. Welcome to the sanctuary. We are diving deep today into the 7 reasons why this isolation is your greatest weapon. First, this isolation is deep. You are being cleared of emotional dependencies that would have made you negotiate your worth in your next season. Second, this isolation is training. You are learning to hear divine instruction without the static of other people's opinions, and that clarity will become your unfair advantage. Third, this isolation is protection. There are conversations happening about you in rooms you've never entered, and your absence is the very thing keeping you safe from traps you cannot yet see. Fourth, this isolation is the version of you that needed constant affirmation is dissolving, and a quieter, more grounded authority is taking its place. Fifth, this isolation is spiritual recalibration. Your desires are being purified, so that what you pursue next will be purpose, not ego. Sixth, this isolation is while you feel still, heaven is arranging meetings, opportunities, and divine intersections that require you to be in the right internal posture, not just the right location. This isolation is proof. If you can remain faithful, steady, and unmoved in a season where nothing external is validating you, then success will never corrupt you when it finally arrives. So breathe. Let the silence do its sacred work. You are not behind, you are being built. Point 1. The divine frequency. You've been asking why the people you used to love suddenly feel like strangers. And the truth is deeper than hurt feelings or growing apart. You've been wondering why you can't even hold a conversation with your old friends without feeling a physical drain in your chest. Like your body itself is rejecting the exchange. That sensation isn't anxiety and it isn't arrogance, it's alignment. Your frequency has shifted from a broadcast to a laser beam. In the past, you were a people-pleaser radio station broadcasting yourself at a low, wide signal that almost anyone could tune into. You made yourself easy to access, easy to understand, and easy to keep around. You translated your depth into small talk. You diluted your truth to keep others comfortable. You laughed when things weren't funny, agreed when things didn't feel right, and stayed connected long after your spirit had quietly checked out. But the moment you started saying no to what drained you and yes to what called you higher, everything began to reach your vibration. And when you rise in frequency, you naturally move out of the emotional and spiritual range of those who are comfortable living in static. This isolation you're experiencing isn't punishment. It's a filter. It's a divine refinement process. It's God clearing background noise so your signal can become pure and undistorted. If those old voices were still constantly in your ear, you wouldn't be able to hear the subtle, high-pitched guidance of your intuition. You're being tuned in the silence, adjusted like an instrument before a symphony. The loneliness you feel is not it's the absence of noise that used to drown out your own inner wisdom. You aren't losing people. You are losing interference. Some connections were never aligned with your destiny, only with your wounds. They bonded with a version of you that overgave, over-explained, and overextended. As that version dissolves, so do the relationships built around it. This filter is also protecting your future harvest. You cannot plant a garden of greatness if people are constantly throwing weeds of doubt, fear, and limitation into your soil. Every time you shared a dream and someone responded with skepticism, that was a weed. Every time you felt smaller after being around someone, that was a weed. By removing the crowd, the universe has ensured that the only seeds being planted in your heart right now are the ones coming directly from the source. This is sacred preparation. This is where your roots grow deep enough to support the life you're about to step into. It's also the stage where you learn one of the most powerful lessons of your evolution to value the quality of your own company over the quantity of a crowd that never truly saw you anyway. Solitude stops feeling like rejection and starts feeling like protection. Silence stops feeling empty and starts feeling full of instruction. You begin to realize that being alone with your thoughts is not scary when your thoughts are finally aligned with your purpose. So stay put in this frequency. Don't lower your vibration just to have someone to talk to. Don't shrink your light to fit back into rooms you've outgrown. The ones who can hear your new song, the ones who resonate with your current frequency, are already on the horizon, being prepared just as you are. When you meet, it won't feel forced, draining, or confusing. It will feel like clarity, like recognition, like coming home to people who speak the language your soul now understands. Point 2. The tactical advantage of being hidden. There is a reason why a master architect keeps the blueprints in a locked room until the foundation is poured. And there is a reason why a mother's womb is dark, silent, and hidden from the world. Great things are not grown in public. They are formed in secret, away from noise, away from opinions, and away from interference. Growth of real magnitude requires a season of being unseen, and that is exactly where you are right now. You are not lost. You are not forgotten. Clears throat. You're in what can only be described as a spiritual witness protection program. There are forces that noticed your light long before you did. There are energies that sensed your potential, your calling, your future. And if you were fully visible right now, fully exposed, fully active, fully recognized, you would become an immediate target for the snipers of jealousy and the vultures of exploitation. So instead of pushing you forward too early, God has drawn a veil over your life. A cloak of invisibility now rests on your shoulders. This is why you walk into rooms and feel overlooked. This is why your voice feels quieter in spaces where you once felt heard. This is why your social media engagement dipped, why invitations slowed down, and why recognition feels delayed. It is not rejection, it is protection. Your power has not decreased, it has been placed under divine security. You are being shielded from those who would drain you, distract you, or derail you before your roots are deep enough to withstand storms. Right now, your life is not about visibility, it is about stability. Roots grow downward before branches grow upward. And roots only grow strong in darkness, in pressure, and in solitude. You are being planted deeper into the bedrock of your identity, your faith, your wisdom, and your emotional resilience. If you were exposed too soon, praise would make you fragile, and criticism would make you crumble. But hidden seasons build unshakable strength. You are not a fragile sprout meant to bend at every opinion. You are becoming an ancient oak, the kind of presence that does not need applause to stand tall. So yes, this season feels quiet, it feels lonely, it feels like you are shouting into a void. But what feels like silence to you is actually construction. What feels like delay is reinforcement. What feels like isolation is insulation. The darkness around you right now is not a grave. It is a greenhouse. It is the dark room where your photograph is being developed with precision and care. If you step into the light too early, the image of your destiny will be overexposed, distorted, and unfinished. Timing is everything. The unveiling of a life like yours is not rushed. When you emerge, it will not be as someone still figuring themselves out. You will rise with clarity, confidence, and calm authority. Your tribe, your assignment, your opportunities, they are not searching for a work in progress. They are waiting for the version of you that has been forged in stillness, strengthened in silence, and stabilized in the hidden place. So do not fight the shadows. Do not mistake invisibility for insignificance. Stay planted, stay grounded. Stay faithful in the quiet. Because when the season shifts, and you will not have to force doors open. Your presence will speak before you do, and the world will recognize the strength that could only have been built in the dark. Point 3. The deprogramming of the rescuer. For most of your life, you have been the strong one, the quiet pillar everyone leaned on, the emergency contact. You became the late-night counselor, the fixer of chaos, and the emotional paramedic rushing into fires that were never yours to put out. Somewhere along the way, you confused being needed with being loved. You believed that if you stopped rescuing, you might disappear. That pattern didn't start with arrogance. It started with survival. You learned early that your worth increased when your usefulness increased. So, you built an identity around being indispensable. But this stay-put season you're in right now is not punishment, and it's not abandonment. It is a mandatory detox from the addiction to external validation. The universe has quietly cleared your environment. The project people are gone. The constant emergencies have dried up. The leeches, the drama magnets, the damsels, and the fallen heroes who fed on your energy have been removed from your daily life. And now in the silence, there is no one left to save. That silence feels uncomfortable because it forces your attention inward. You're not exhausted from giving. You're uneasy because you're finally alone with yourself. This is the hardest threshold for a chosen one, because your heart is generous and your instinct is to pour outward. But the emptiness you feel is not a void, it is space. Space is sacred. Space is where reconstruction happens. You are being deprogrammed from the belief that your value is tied to your utility. You are learning slowly and sometimes painfully that you are worthy of love, rest, and presence, even when you are not producing, fixing, or carrying anyone else's weight. This isolation is a spiritual surgery, precise and intentional, designed to remove the savior complex that quietly rooted itself in your heart. You didn't even realize how much of your identity was wrapped around being the hero in other people's stories. But heroes who never come home to themselves eventually lose their own plot. The reason this pattern must be healed now is because of who is coming next. The next level of people entering your life will not be looking for a rescuer. They will be looking for a partner, an equal, someone who can stand beside them rather than carry them. If you skip this healing, you will unconsciously attract another wave of dependence, another tribe of takers, and another cycle of burnout disguised as purpose. That is why you are being told to stay put and face the reflection in the mirror, not with judgment, but with stop trying to find someone to fix as a distraction from Clear's throat fixing yourself. Stop volunteering your energy just to avoid sitting with your own unmet needs. This season is teaching you how to sit in your own presence without performing. It is teaching you how to enjoy your own company without earning it. When you become comfortable in your own skin, when you no longer need to be the hero to feel significant, powerful shifts. Your energy stabilizes, your boundaries strengthen, your presence deepens, and from that grounded place, you begin to radiate a quiet confidence that doesn't beg, chase, or rescue. That frequency naturally attracts high-level kings and queens, people who are whole within themselves, and people who walk beside you instead of clinging to you. This is not a lonely season. It is a recalibration season. You are not being sidelined. You are being refined. Stay put, breathe, and let the old identity fall away. The version of you that emerges will no longer need to know they are loved. Point 4. The construction of the new table. While you are sitting in your waiting room, have you ever stopped to consider that the people you are praying for are also sitting in a waiting room of their own? Clear's throat staring at a different clock, asking the same questions about timing, purpose, and delay. Divine timing is not a straight line. It is a living, breathing web of movements, adjustments, and quiet preparations happening behind curtains you cannot see. The person who is meant to be your future spouse may be in the final stretch of healing from a heartbreak that once made them question love entirely. The friend who will understand your soul without explanation may still be learning hard lessons about loyalty. The business partner you need could be developing a skill, a discipline, or a level of integrity that they didn't possess a year ago. If they had arrived in your life 6 months ago, they would not have been ready for you. And if they arrived today, you might still be too entangled in yesterday's wounds to receive them properly. The stay put order is not a punishment. It is a command for synchronization. Picture 2 trains traveling toward the same station from different cities. If one train rushes ahead of schedule, the connection is missed. If one is delayed too long, the opportunity slips through the cracks. So both are being paced with precision. Even if the passengers feel restless, you're being held in place not because you are forgotten, but because your arrival time must match theirs with exactness that only the divine conductor can calculate. Right now, the universe is quietly vetting the people who are destined to walk into your life. Their character is being tested in rooms you will never enter. Their loyalty is being proven in situations you will never witness. Their spiritual maturity is being refined through fires you will never feel. You do not want the version of them from last year, the one who would have mishandled your heart, your vision, or your calling. You want the version that has survived loss, faced themselves, and chosen growth over comfort. That kind of transformation takes time, and so does yours. This is why you cannot rush the process. You cannot manifest a true soul tribe with an anxious heart or a desperate spirit. Alignment does not respond to panic. It responds to peace. You must trust that the same hand that seems to be holding you back is also gently pushing them forward. While you feel paused, they are being propelled. While you feel hidden, they are being prepared. They are navigating their own fog, shedding old identities, breaking old patterns, and learning how to recognize what is real. And somehow beneath all the noise of life, they are following the subtle scent of your spirit, just as you are being tuned to recognize theirs. When you finally meet, it will not feel like effort or confusion. It will feel like recognition. There will be a quiet knowing, a sense that you have both walked through similar wildernesses and come out carrying the same kind of wisdom. The connection will not need to be forced because it was built in the unseen long before it appears in the seen. So stay put and let the bridge be finished. Do not exhaust yourself trying to build the entire structure from your side alone. The divine architect is working on the middle section, the part you cannot reach, the part that ensures the bridge does not collapse under the weight of what it is meant to carry. Point 5. Protection from the counterfeit. Whenever a chosen one is on the edge of a life-altering breakthrough, something strange happens. The opposition doesn't attack with obvious darkness. It approaches wearing perfume, opportunity, and a smile. The enemy sends a distraction disguised as destiny, a counterfeit wrapped so carefully in the language of blessing that it almost feels rude to question it. This is how derailment enters, not as a warning, but as an upgrade that arrived too fast. It's the job offer with the impressive title, but a culture that slowly drains your spirit. It's the romantic connection that feels electric, but leaves you anxious, second-guessing yourself, and shrinking to be chosen. It's the sudden best friend who appears out of nowhere, mirrors your wounds, studies your dreams, and quietly reports your vulnerabilities back to the version of your life you already outgrew. Counterfeits don't come to destroy you immediately. They come to delay you, dilute you, and distract you just long enough to make you miss divine timing. That's why this season of isolation you're in is not punishment. It's protection. You are hidden on purpose. While you feel unseen, uncelebrated, and maybe even forgotten, clear's throat, you are actually shielded from premature attachments and poisoned opportunities. Counterfeits rely on access. They need proximity, emotional openings, and your restless desire for something, anything, to change. They wait for the moment you feel lonely enough to lower your standards, tired enough to call chaos chemistry, or impatient enough to label misalignment as a sign. But because you are staying put, healing, and refusing to chase noise, they can't get a clear read on you. Stillness makes you unreadable to what is not meant for you. Desperation blurs discernment, but grounded solitude sharpens it into a blade. You're not falling for sparks anymore. You're examining fruit. You're no longer impressed by intensity. You're watching for consistency. This quiet stretch of your life is building discernment muscles you didn't know you had. You are learning the difference between a soul connection that feels peaceful and a trauma bond that feels urgent. You're recognizing love that feels safe versus attachment that feels addictive. You're seeing red flags before they even wave because your nervous system is no longer addicted to chaos. The waiting room you're in isn't a delay chamber, it's a strengthening chamber. The universe is keeping you here until your self-worth is so stable that no counterfeit can hook into your insecurities again. You are being bored into brilliance, stripped of distractions until your focus becomes laser sharp.